So, I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard the news. They're claiming that the United States, under the leadership of Brandon, okay. Sorry, hello? I'll let me figure it out, and then I'll call Eli. Thanks. Bye. Sorry, even though I'm on here, I'm still at work. So, um, under the guidance of Brandon, they're immediately after the whole balloon debacle that we're going to talk about shortly. They're now trying to pretend that they shot down a UFO. They didn't. When they say UFO, they mean they're pretending that they don't know what they shot down. They're not going to say it's Chinese or Russian. There's a PSYOP coming that was already pre-scheduled 20 years ago. And there are plenty of documents to read about it. Most of you, if you follow a channel like mine, you've heard of Project Bluebeam, where they have holographic technology 30 years ago that they can project Jesus in the sky and immediately turn most of the country or the world into instant believers. But if they can do that, they can also project craft that you can literally touch. They have technology where they can make you see anything you want, and you cannot believe your eyes. You have to keep your wits about yourself, and you have to know this is all fake. But there's a couple of good things that you can look forward to. Yeah, Project Bluebeam. The only reason why, now, if according to the timetable, this announcement of shooting down this craft, they're 1 year early. What that means is that the United States is going rogue. This was a joint coalition under Davos and the World Economic Forum. At the helm is Klaus Schwab and these European leaders, these people that live in other countries. The United States was going along with the agenda. However, by the United States now adjusting the timetable, they're actually taking control of the mission. Essentially, what you're seeing happen to James O'Keefe, how they're trying to take his baby, the mutiny. This is the World Economic Forum's baby, and the United States just announced a mutiny. The United States will no longer be coordinating on their timetables, and they're going to speed it up themselves, and they're going to take control of the mission. That's why you see the garbage disposal being turned on in Europe, and most of their weapons are now gone. There is no defense. So when they're projecting these craft in the skies, shooting down on these cities, there's not going to be anything to mobilize to shoot back. They already have weapons. You're going to think it's an alien. You're going to think it's unknown craft that are going to be bombing you, but it's not. See, the reason why you can't trust people like Elon Musk is because space is fake. He knows it. They all do. You just don't. Because of movies and TV shows, you believe it's real. No one believed the Earth was a spinning ball until about 60 years ago. No one believed in aliens coming because there is nowhere to go. When they do tell you that they crashed and they found a being, it will be of Earth origin. It will be what we call a chimera, which is a human-animal hybrid. Now, they have different forms, but they have a physical appearance as us, but their faces will be different. That's why you can't trust people that wear masks, because underneath it could be the nose of a pig or the mouth of a goat. You know, the chimeras that they first gave birth to would be in their late 30s or early 40s now, flying these craft. And if one gets shot down, you're going to find something that you think is an alien. It's not. It's just an abomination of science and God. They're telling you now that they have hybrids that they were going to harvest their organs from, which were part human, part ape, part human, part pig, so that a human body wouldn't reject the organ of this animal. But keep in mind, a lot of us don't remember back in the early 90s, late 80s, they actually fought for rights for these chimeras, for these hybrids. Bill Clinton spoke about them as well. They have islands where they would produce these beings and they would raise them like children. And now they're fighting age. And since the launch of the scamdemic, now they can walk amongst regular people and wear masks and you wouldn't know the difference. So that's what you're going to find when they tell you that they pulled this creature from a wreck. Now, when they're combining animals and humans, they're going to get different results. It's going to be weird at first, but if you know what to expect, then you won't be caught off guard. Keep that in mind. There are no aliens. Space is fake. So, they came from another planet. Everything's from Earth. This is all a PSYOP. The same way they told you that you need to be afraid of the air. Even though your air conditioner sucks in air from the outside, they want you to stay indoors as if that would make a difference. None of it makes sense because it's bullshit. But the good thing is this, because they're adjusting the timetable and they're not able to coordinate with their counterparts, they're going to make all these big blunders and mistakes. No matter what happens, whether they make mistakes or not, the power is going to go out soon. You see right now in Las Vegas, they're telling you that there's an issue with the gas pipeline. So everyone's waiting in they need you to get on the grid so that they can turn off all the cars. And if you don't have a car, then you're not going to be able to run when the bombings start. The good thing is they lost about 4 years under Trump. So the agenda is behind schedule. And now because of the mutiny, it's not going to work out. Now we are going to experience some drawbacks. It's going to take us maybe 15 to 20 years to get back to where we were in 2019. They're literally telling you they're going to introduce a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. But for that to happen, the grid's going to have to go down for a while. And you're going to have to learn to live without being able to make electronic transactions. They want you to get rid of your fiat so that when they turn everything back on, you're automatically in this new system. The way they're going to bring you into it is they're going to give a bunch of people who don't have money about $5,000 in central bank digital currency. Those people are literally going to think that they're going to keep getting free money and they're going to push for the system to replace our current system. That's what those people do. They don't want to see people with more than them have more. That's why they say, it's the rich versus the poor. But to be poor is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. And it's a belief that you're owed. It's a victim mentality. They don't want to work. They're not going to work regardless. But they don't want them to resist. But why would they defend something that they don't feel is benefiting them? Basically, they're for sale to the highest bidders. So as long as you're giving them free shit, they will hand over their freedom. Unfortunately, that adversely affects my bottom line, which is stability and autonomy. I want to be able to choose what I'm going to do, how I'm going to work, how I'm going to live. But the more people comply, the harder it's going to be for a person like me to maneuver in society. Therefore, I have to make these videos and speak out against it. I have to talk to you so that you can talk to other people, so that we can spread the word, so that people know what's coming, so they don't fall for it. I wish I'd have been doing these videos in 2019 and I could have told people, hey, they're going to tell you to put shit over your face. They're going to tell you to stay in your house. And they're going to tell you to ignore all the homeless people and all the strippers that are not dying. And just think about what you see on television. Ignore what you see on the streets. You've never seen a person just drop in front of you. Just remember that one person you saw who they said in China dropped out of the, crazy how little it took to get us to give up everything. But it wasn't the fear for people like me in California. It was a break. A lot of people went along with this communism, socialism, because telling them they can stay home with their kids. If you live in California and your rent's $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom, and you're not used to taking vacations and you're used to basically breaking even every month, when they offer to give you free shit and you get to stay home, most people never had a break. So the fatigue is what the fatigue of the rat race is why communism and socialism sounded so appealing to people without necessarily using those terms initially. And now that people got used to not working, not having to pay bills, they don't want to go back to it. Personally, I left the state because I wanted to take care of myself. I'll provide for my family. My family came here. We didn't come here for a vacation. We came here for the right to work. In some places, people don't want to work anymore. They want to live off the state, which is pretty much how a lot of countries in Europe live. They tax you so much, there's no point in starting a business or being creative. You know what? Flat Earth boy, I'm telling you, not enough people are all of a sudden freaking out believing it's aliens. Not enough. But they're going to push it so fast. Think about it. They're telling you that they shot something down, but you mean to tell me that no one came to inspect what you shot down? It's in American territory. You guys couldn't have got there. What they're doing is they're trying to create this scenario. It's all Hollywood. Smoke and mirrors. And they're going to try to present this as something from somewhere else. They got to explain away everything that they're doing. And if it comes at the expense of society so that they don't have to explain where all this money for NASA is going and all this money that disappears for defense spending and all their other scams, think about it. They get to wipe the whole slate clean if they go under a central bank digital currency. And I kind of think, and I'm pretty sure that's why they're pulling this. Yeah, and that's the thing, Flat Earth Boy. A lot of people, like I said, the reason people are not going to fight back against the lies in certain places is because being victims has been beneficial the last couple of years. But you can't be a victim and be a strong person. You got to pick one. So if you're a victim, you're a victim, and a victim is not going to fight back. A victim's going to do what they're told. A victim is easy to control. The reason like I always keep saying, the reason they're frying Fauci and the reason they're getting rid of Biden. But see, Biden is such an arrogant piece of shit. He's not actually admitting that he's going to concede and actually not run because he's in a position where now he's stabbing the people in the back who put him there. It's a mutiny. This was destined to fail before it started because this is like when you're dealing with people like the Davos Group, the World Economic Forum, and world leaders, there's only a few of them. But at the end of the fucking day, it's the Highlander. There can be only one. So your agenda goes through. You get humanity by the balls. You euthanize the men with high testosterone who would fight back. You leave the world in the hands of gays, trans, and women. Well, now what? Now who's going to be the God King? Even if there's only 12 people, who's going to be number one and who's going to be number two? And who's going to agree to sacrificing their society, risking their families' lives just to be number 12? Don't you want to be number one? And what you're seeing now, what you're going to start seeing is the infighting of them removing each other from the board. So expect to see more confusion. Expect to see things that don't make sense because right now there's an active mutiny. There can be only one. These world leaders are not going to be, Xi Jinping is not going to be second in command to an American. Putin is not going to be second in command to Klaus Schwab. And George Soros is not going to be at the back of even if there's only 5 people, who's going to be number one? Right now, it's a battle because no one wants to take the back seat. I'll be honest, a lot of these people didn't think it was going to make it this far. And really, it didn't. The people who they needed to take it didn't, not enough. So, but the problem is with the train that we're on, there's no reverse button. There's no stop. They have to keep going forward no matter what. They call it the escalation elevator. They just keep going. But they're losing steam. However, the Ukrainian garbage disposal has literally demilitarized all of Europe in a year. So now when they're telling you that there's these craft flying overhead in Europe, there's going to be nothing to shoot at them. Everything's went to the Ukrainian garbage disposal. They barely have weapons now from the 50s, if they even have those. And they're trying to figure out how to get those to Ukraine. They're just grinding up and melting all of their military equipment on purpose. You know, the thing is, when you have this many moving parts, all working in sync simultaneously, you have to know there is an AI that's already in control of all of this. Our leaders, the policies, the path. And an AI is one thing a computer is good at in general is multitasking. That's why it's hard for us to believe there's so many moving parts and so many things can be happening at once, because a human or even a think tank would normally not be able to move this fast and this precise. There's already a computer in charge. And this computer, just like a body, has to extend and grow more limbs. Those towers that I've been showing you are connected to the AI, and they built them up all around you in our cities. And if you read about when they call it the Internet of Things, those towers connect your body to the AI if you took the thing. But not enough of us did. Thank God. They took the first one, which does connect you. But the second one, well, that one's a doozy. And everyone didn't go back for that. And also, if you didn't take those boosters, the creature that's in the second one, by the way they're pushing the boosters, the creature dies without testosterone nutrients being fed to it. Because that's what you're doing with those boosters. It's food for what's in the second shot. And if you don't feed it, it'll pass away and it won't grow and actually clog your arteries, cause arrhythmia, get into your brain, cause neurological disorders unless you fucking feed it. It's just like any other kind of life. Even if it is a hybrid between something organic and synthetic, it's still going to require nourishment. It's encapsulated in the liquid around the larvae is testosterone. That's why you see it's killing men and not women and not gay men, because gay men take estrogen pills and they have lower testosterone levels. But men, especially black men, how the fuck, if you think about it, black men, if black people in general are 13% of the population, then black men would mean that they're only 6%. How are you 6%, but 95% of all the adverse reactions and deaths? Yeah, something is coming, and you got to remove certain people from the field. And because of the infighting, that's going to give us a chance to mount a defense. And because of that defense, in my estimation, even the internet and the power grid should have went down in December. We shouldn't even be able to still have these talks, but because we can, we're going to keep talking, give out more information. And until they cut the grid, we're going to be able to make sure people are not freaked out behind what they're going to see in the skies pretty soon. Because it's coming. And because the Americans are fuck-ups. And now that they're causing this mutiny, they're going against the World Economic Forum, and they're going to take control of the mission and do the PSYOP themselves, it's not going to work. But the Americans are going to burn their allies. See, America first was not a Donald Trump thing. It's an arrogance thing, and we all share it. We're not necessarily connected to the rest of the world. We have these two big oceans that prevent that. Now, you Europeans are fools because you can drive a car from Moscow to London. You're connected to the world. You're not in Australia. You guys are all on one landmass. How the fuck you let somebody convince you to get into it with people who can literally just drive to where you're at? See, we got these oceans protecting us. You guys don't have shit. You got to hold your leaders more accountable, or someone's going to have to crash out. But either way it goes, they're walking you guys into destruction. And it's a planned demolition. It's like a car crash in slow motion. That's why in these American cities, they need you all on electrical so they can turn off the electricity. Then you can't run. Then they can bomb you. They can't do that if we're all spread out, moving to and fro. They need you in one place, but it's not going to work. Victory, in their terms, was always an illusion in the first place. Because, well, who's going to be number one? You know, remember in the movie The Watchmen? Who wants to be the richest man on a cinder? What's the point of having all that money if society's destroyed? It was a hoax. It was a scam. Help us get rid of these. No one's going to believe this, but I can prove it. Help us get rid of the black population in these first world countries, but not the African ones because they share different values. They're not necessarily a threat. Also, you can starve out Africa. The ones that are in these first world countries are protected by white men who are naturally going to protect society. That's why they enforce laws. They've always been in law enforcement. If you have a criminal and you have a rapist or a pedophile, it's going to be a white man that's going to come arrest them. Let's just be honest. These blacks here who claim racism and all this bullshit, they're protected by the same people who they claim to hate, that they claim to be their enemies. They needed access and they couldn't get it because you would have to come out and actually say you want direct access to them. But that goes, but think about it. You use the woke culture to push your agenda, which they go against one another. And no one's going to be smooth enough to be able to pull off a scam. With one thing about black people in general, they're emotional. So that means you're not going to be able to trust them because you say one thing wrong, or at the split second they'll turn on you. So this was all destined to fail from the beginning because Black people are a wild card, and that was a target demographic to get removed, because when the fighting starts, due to our size, we would be the ones to be a threat, and we still are. Hey, what's up, Blanche? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna save it and share it. I wanted to get on with you actually when we can, because I had a topic about this whole situation where they're threatening, well, if you don't accept these trans kids and let these boys pull their wieners out in front of little girls, then they're going to commit suicide. So you're telling me you want to prevent suicide, but on the same hand, you got something called medical assistance in dying suicide. So wait, on one hand, you want to stop suicide. On the other hand, you're promoting suicide now as a form of healthcare. It doesn't make sense. So I was going to actually try to bring you on a live to talk about that if you ever have some time, because they're using the threat of suicide to hold society hostage and shame people into going along with bullshit. Like, let's pretend if we put lipstick on a monkey that it's a cat. It's not a fucking cat. It's still a monkey at the end of the day. So, yeah, I wanted to bring you on to talk about that. I have some other topics. It's just, I mean, I get distracted, and you keep hoping you're going to wake up and someone else is going to be talking about certain things. But honestly, there's a lot of room. And with all the infighting going on with the Daily Wire, Crowder, even Tim Pool, Quartering, all these different people, and you see what's going on with O'Keefe. One thing about all those different people that are infighting on the conservative side of things that we're on in these spaces where we talk to people and we try to influence people with our values. If you notice, the one connection that they all have is money. As of now, I do this for free. I don't need the money from doing this. I don't ask people for donations because you're kind of beholden to your audience. I'll do this for free. Blanche does this for free. I love sending him money and donations, and because I love supporting his work. The man's a fucking genius. But when you get to a certain point and you have staff and you have millions of dollars on the table, then you're naturally going to have people who want access to the money. Right now, people that work on the board of Project Veritas have been compromised by the board of Pfizer, and now they're being paid to try to get rid of O'Keefe, even though James O'Keefe is basically an Alex Jones. You can give him a phone and he can walk outside and go live, and you can take his company away, but it's still him. He's still there. All he needs is a camera, and we're going to follow him, and I'm going to still send him as much fucking money as I can. I won't give another penny to Project Veritas without James O'Keefe. But seeing that there's a mutiny right now where they're trying to commit a coup against him, Project Veritas is just going to have to change the name, but it's still O'Keefe. O'Keefe's not changing his name. These other influencers, they're having a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of issues with infighting. The same thing's going on a smaller level as a bigger level, because everyone sees that right now is the time to make your move. The Americans just made their move, announcing they shot down a craft over Alaska. Alaska's American territory. They have full control over what they can say happened, their narrative. It's not like they shot it down over the ocean or international waters or in another country, invading, or that was over American base, and other witnesses can come out and say, wait a minute, that's not what happened. They made sure it happened in a place that's under American control. This is a big fucking planet. This is a big Earth, this area that we're in. It's huge as fuck. It could have happened. What are the odds that it's over that little bit of area in Alaska? What are the odds? So let's keep our wits about ourselves. Let's not fall for the propaganda. Scrutinize and question everything. Don't be a victim. Don't play in the victimhood. Victims don't question anything. Victims go along and do what they're told. Be better than that. Don't be pathetic. Because then people like me are going to have to be forced to be the next people to tell you what to do. Do you really want to live under my thumb? Because think about it, there's going to be somebody stronger than you who's not a victim that's going to pander to your victimhood just so that we can control you. Don't force us to do that. Control yourself. Be yourself. And resist the PSYOP. Oh, and one more thing. If my calculations are correct, there is not going to be a winner of the Super Bowl. There can't be. Now, hopefully I'm wrong. And because of the mutiny with the Americans, they're not going to go along with the globalist plan to turn the Super Bowl into a major PSYOP where they're going to say that there's an introduction of the bird flu 2 players are dead. People are coughing. People are sick in the audience. They're going to have to quarantine the stadium, set up testing booths on the outside, and everyone in the country is going back into mask next week. The emergency is going to be extended, and they're going to keep pushing the new narrative about this new scamdemic that just took place. That's my calculations. That's the only thing that would make sense. For that game to go off without a hitch makes no sense. They stopped an entire game over Jamon Hamlin and that was just to let you know what's coming. That they can't do it, which has never been done. For them to let you have a big old show, 300 million people with no mask, worldwide viewers, Rihanna twerking, all kind of weird shit, and people outside being manly and strong and tackling each other, and then they let the game just end, and then you go on with your regular American day, you eat your fucking hot dogs. That wouldn't make sense if you just locked down the world for 3 fucking years. Just to let it go. You need that grip. You need that fear. You need to make sure that people are not thinking they can just go back to living whatever what the fuck is normal anyway. Every day we got to make things happen for ourselves. There is no normal. But to think that people can just go back to not living in constant fear of lockdown and fake in the air and things floating around in the air that's never been verified or proven, believing that you can stay in the house and wear a mask is a conspiracy theory in itself. But the Super Bowl would be an amazing psyop because it's seen by people worldwide. And think about it. What if all of a sudden 2 or 3 players die or drop down on the field right before halftime? Because that's when the most eyes are going to be on the game. People want to see the halftime show, or it could be the beginning of third quarter. That's when a lot of people are still watching the game post because they were just watching the halftime show. But think about all those eyes. Think about all that attention. You could scare this fucking world back into submission, and you have the problem reaction, and you have the fucking solution. You have a brand new drug that just came out. Because these players, they have blood coming out of their eyes. Marburg virus. They can make you bleed from your nose, your mouth, and your eyes, but you won't die. See, before, they were telling you people are sick. But now, they can actually, because they took these injections, they can make you express certain things physically that scare people who see it to death. Every idiot mom and people that binge watch The View is going to freak the fuck out. They're going to believe whatever, because think about it. They went through a drive-through window like they were going to buy some Carl's Jr. and got injections. So they'll definitely believe. They'll believe that. They'll definitely believe this. This is child's play. This is easy. If I can get you to be afraid of the fucking air, but then you're not wondering why all these homeless people still, the homeless couldn't shelter in place. They are doing just fine. The strippers, you know how many strip clubs stayed open? So if they can get you not to question homeless people and strippers, then if I see a motherfucker, big old football player with his eyes bleeding and dripping down his dreads, then they'll definitely scare you into submission, keep you in that fear, keep you in that state of anxiety, keep you questioning things. Now they got you seeing shit in the sky. All they're doing is buying more time, because these injections, the ones that did go out, they're not doing what they're supposed to do in the allotted time frame that they're supposed to do it. Yes, they failed on giving it to all the people they need to give it to. Okay, cool, but we can still move forward. We need more time. They need to buy more time to give this stuff time to work. Problem is, too many moving parts. And all it's going to do is take 1 or 2 people to change their mind, go against the grain, decide that they want a different position, and there's no time to negotiate with them. They can just sabotage your plans. I mean, look around. Only in these first world countries that took that injection are you seeing chicken coops and farms and shit blow up. What are the odds of that? They're all in on it. They were. But you got now these diversity new hires, these big old lesbian black women, or these white women or gay white men with pink and purple hair that have jobs around critical infrastructure in food processing plants, working at the electrical grid, working for the power company, working at the FAA, sending out tweets talking about they want to diversify the skies. Those are the people who are terrorists. The same ones who are committing these crimes are the same ones who are there telling you if you don't go by his pronouns, he's going to commit suicide. Yeah, for the ones who don't commit suicide, they end up getting jobs in critical infrastructure. They don't have kids, so what they live for is the destruction of this society that they claim is white supremacist. Even though they're white themselves, if you claim white supremacy, then you're saying that you're inferior and you can pretend to be a victim, and you want to dismantle it by dismantling the country. These people don't even require direct orders. The mission is understood, and they're making good on some of their promises. So you're going to see more sabotage. But if you're going to see sabotage there, you're also going to see sabotage that goes in our favor. So expect to see some hiccups in their plans. But again, there's nothing to fear besides fear itself. We'll be back on in a few hours, and then we'll revisit some of these topics. And yeah, share this live. Next time, follow the page, follow the Safe and Effective podcast. Also, that's my other page. It's a backup page. And then we'll go over some more of these topics in a few hours. Cheers.